Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
It is so much work. It's so much work. They're super picky. It's just really hard to please them. So now we're like, you know what? Screw dentist office. Screw daycares.
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMade. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners. I'm your host, Stephanie Pipkin from Serene Clean, and today's episode is going to be pretty incredible. It is with one of our listeners, actually, who so kindly agreed to being a guest on Filthy Rich Cleaners. This is Gentry Hunter. She is the owner and founder of 2.0 Cleaning in Austin, Texas, and she has quite the amazing story that I want you guys to hear. Additionally, we're going to be jumping in and answering some of the dilemmas and struggles that she is dealing with in her business, because she's still very new in business. And this is why I wanted her as a guest, so that we can all learn and grow as a group and community. So thank you, Gentry. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us what you used to do and how you got into cleaning.
So yes, my name is Gentry Patrice Hunter. I'm from Austin, Texas. I was a teacher and a social worker, so working two jobs at the same time. You know, when you're a teacher, they tell you exactly how much you're going to make every year for the rest of your life until you retire. And even after retirement, how much they'll give you. There's really no money in teaching, and there's not much money in social work. And also, it wasn't a very positive environment. The children were positive, but in general, just teaching was not what I wanted to do. My family, they have a real estate and brokerage company. A lot of them do like real estate development. And so I always heard them talk about like finding cleaners for move in, move outs, finding cleaners for post-construction. You know, it's real estate and cleaning go hand in hand. So I thought, if I don't want to do real estate, maybe I'll do cleaning.
Yeah. That's amazing. And really seeing that there's a need. And obviously we all know that there is such a big need for our services literally across the country, no matter where you are, in some flavor, whether that be residential or the turnover cleanings or commercial. So that's pretty amazing. I'm curious, when you did make that pivot and decision, considering how much you had put into your education and learning how to teach and all of the certifications that go along with it. How difficult was it for you to make that change? Like emotionally, was that a big step for you?
Yeah, it was very difficult. My husband is the main reason why we like really took a look at what I'm going to do as a career. So he's a project manager, and project managing has a lot to do with cleaning. So he kind of made me feel confident in that way of making a transition and us starting a business together. But of course, you know, like I said, I love the children. I love giving back. And it was devastating to walk away from that profession. However, when I saw you, I believe one episode, you were talking about the ways that you use cleaning to give back. And that definitely made me feel like better. Like, okay, there's a way that I can do both and still survive financially, you know?
Absolutely. And honestly, like just reading about your dedication to community and giving, I really want to delve into that a lot in this discussion. Basically being, there's a lot of competition in Austin. You have a lot that you're going against. And what we need to lean into, or like Gentry's secret sauce, I would say, is kind of what mine is that community involvement. You know the area, you love your community, and that should be your brand. And that should be where it's just like pouring out of everything that you put out into the world is, I love my community and this is how I serve it in this specific way. And so I really think leaning into that, because it's authentic. And I think that anytime authenticity is at the forefront, people can feel that. Just like, you know, obviously you connected to me, because it's not like I'm just saying it. It's like the proof is in the pudding. This is what Serene Clean does with all of our time and resources. And to be clear, that has built over time. It's not like I could do all of these things, you know, day one, or even had in my mind to do it, but it's just as time and opportunities have arisen, it's like, okay, we should do this, we should do this. And you just kind of add to it. But the fact is that you're already thinking of this at your early stage, because you're 2 years in, or how long have you been at it?
I started on Halloween. So I'm like 3 months, 4 months in.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're super Okay, well, I don't know why I think I saw 2 employees. Maybe that's what I saw. You have two.
Yes,
That's what it is. That's where the 2 came in. So wow, this is amazing, because I love that you're already thinking of this so early. So this is fantastic. And your website looks pretty darn good considering you're new. Did you do that yourself?
Thank you. No, I hired someone on Fiverr.
Oh, awesome. Great tip right there is that you can really have a beautiful website built pretty inexpensively in that manner. So far, what has been going well?
Okay, so what's been going well is similar to what you told me just now. Like, I am the brand, my husband is the brand. You know what I mean? So what's been going well is door to door. Whenever I do door to door for businesses, I was impressed with the amount of interest that I got. Mm-hmm. As far as like being able to do a walkthrough, being able to speak to the person I need to speak to. So that's what's going well, is just my personality being attached to the business.
Absolutely. Especially with commercial. I think people get so afraid to do what you're discussing, which is, outbound, like attempting to create those connections, which is exactly how I would recommend like getting commercial is walking in there and introducing yourself and being friendly. And just making that connection is a wonderful thing. And it does take multiple tries for sure. But if you are tying your personality to the brand and you're the face of the brand, that can be a wonderful thing, especially when it's such a pretty face. So use that way. Oh my God. Right?
Thank you.
So that's going well. As for residential, how are you getting residential right now?
So residential, I'm getting strictly through word of mouth. And January, like I said, we started in October, the last day of October. November, I was just building the website, basically. So I wasn't even trying to get clients in November. And then December and January, I was hyper focused on door to door for commercial. I didn't do anything for residential. And so actually this past month was when I first started getting my residential clients strictly through word of mouth, strictly through people I know posting my business on different platforms and in condos, apartments, those type of WhatsApps. And then people will call the business. And that's how I was getting residential so far.
Who has been doing the cleanings as of yet?
So I have 2 employees. I'm trying to think because I just fired one. So I had 3. But now I have 2. And so they do the cleanings. I have, of course, because I'm so new, I have had to step in, like, the clock is running. Let's get through this. But so far I have 2 employees and then myself and my husband that help.
Okay, gotcha. And those are actual W-2s or not, or ICs?
W-2 part-time.
Awesome. Great to hear. That's obviously we can skin this cat both ways, but I'm most familiar with W-2. So I'm glad to hear that that's how you're handling it. How has that been? Obviously, it's a total mess in the beginning with employees oftentimes. So how are you doing?
Oh my gosh. I was going through it. Through it like, I think Monday we fired someone, or Tuesday. I was going through it. I was like, how am I even going to talk about and like be happy? Because it was so hard on me emotionally. I remember you sharing a story about like how fragile you were in the beginning. And I was like, I don't know if I'm fragile, but I'm definitely fragile because it bothered me.
It feels so personal because it's like they're rejecting you. And even though that's not the case, like this has nothing to do with you most likely. So what was the, let's hear.
Tell us about it. Okay. Okay. So I hired a total of 3 employees gradually, not at the same time. One of them, she's very pleasant, amazing. Another one, one of them, she's very pleasant and amazing. My second employee, I hired her when I was in a bind. So that's always like the first red flag. So we were in a bind. I hired her despite her, a little bit of red flags on her background because it was all the way from 2017, and part of being a business owner is being able to give people a second chance, as I'm sure you're familiar with. And so I was in a
plenty they've got backgrounds, let's just say. Some of my best.
Yeah. I mean, we run checks as long as it's nothing like violent or theft or burglary. Sure, I'll give you a second chance. And she worked for us for 3 days, a total of 3 days. And, was late for an hour one day, late for 20 minutes another day, complaining about how she doesn't get paid enough for this and that. And I pay $15.85 an hour, just so you guys know. Yes, 3 days. And I start off paying $15.85 an hour, you can grow from there, but that's the base price, that's the market rate, So it didn't work out. But the reason why it didn't go well is just because after her firing, she's texting us, she's threatening us, she's saying she's going to post bad reviews on the business and get other people to do it as well. So it was just very stressful for me, but I made it through. I mean, I think we're good now, hopefully. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that, so that pretty much, whatever you want to call it, blackmailing from former employees, like that's not an uncommon experience, especially when they're frankly shitbags. We've also been told, we're going to get sued. Like, I'm going to talk to my lawyer. It's like, I know you can't afford a lawyer. What are you talking about? So a lot of times it is just that kind of puffing up of their chest, but doesn't make it any less stressful when you're going through it. So did she quit or did you fire that? Was that the one you fired?
Yeah, my husband fired her, and I'm very respectful. I expect respect in return. So, I gave her a pay advance. I'm very kind to people. Probably shouldn't have given a pay advance so early, but I was in a bind, like I said, and I'm always caught off guard when someone is attacking what feels like me. I know it's the business and I have to separate myself, but it felt like an attack on me. And I felt like I was doing the best I could to be a great boss. So it was just a lot. It was a lot on me.
It is. And I can understand that of even the separation. It's like, well, my business is me. And so that has more to do with the type of person that she is, because she doesn't know you. That's the thing. She doesn't know you. And I will say that some of the worst things that have been said about me have been from the people that I've helped more than anyone. I've given and given and given. And it's just like I've heard the term, or there's this book I remember that call it energy vampires, where they just suck the life out of you. And I've had multiple instances of those types of people in my business where it's just like, you're just a black hole of, I could give you my house in it. You still think I'm a bad person. So keeping that in mind, that it's definitely not you. And, taking from what you learned, okay, no pay advances. Just, we don't do them at all. If I'm giving you money, this is a gift, because they start, once that happens with one, they start all thinking, well, if they got one, then, so it's a bad precedent. Even the hard part is, I can tell you got a big heart like I do. Like, my managers have had to stop me from giving pay advances. Like, Stephanie, do not do this. Like, this is against policy. And like, I wanted to break that rule. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because it would have just started this tumbling snowball effect for sure. So you have two good ones that are working out now so far, right?
Yes. They're awesome. Even the last one, she was an amazing cleaner. I'm never wanting to slander anybody. She's an amazing cleaner. I think she should own her own company. Some people just don't need to work for other people. Some people need their own company. So yes, I have two amazing cleaners, and what's been my main struggle is separating my social work, like therapist brain, from cleaning, because cleaning is like very more of a cutthroat type of industry. It's like very business first, less feelings involved, and that's just not what I come from. But yes, I have two amazing employees.
Well, and I will say, like, I would say why my long-term staff have such love and like adoration for me is that I've absolutely thrown out the window any rules about, keeping it all business. I think it's just having those strong boundaries of like, what makes you a beautiful, special person is that you care deeply about people and you want to help them, but figuring out like explicitly what that line is. Are you obviously you have all this background that makes you very unique, and that will make you a great leader, but only if you have those strong boundaries in place. So don't feel like you need to be this cold person. And I don't know if that's, where you're taking it necessarily, but just keep that in mind, that don't let it make you this cynical person, because people will screw you over. It's just like, at the end of the day, that's about them, not you, and staying strong in your identity of who you are. And you're a kind person. You're a person that helps people, and learning every time you get burned, but not to like shut off from that goodness in you, I would say. So just from my own experience, because things that have happened to me could make me very cynical, I would say, but it's like, that's what people do sometimes, and then move on and you start over, but it's hard not to get very, very demoralized when it keeps happening over and over, because there's a lot of people who are gonna screw you over, and that's where having the policies in place and protecting yourself will be important. So what did training look like? I'm curious for, they're great cleaners, it sounds like. So what does that process looks like so far?
So training is actually something that we're working on like developing, because I'm not a professional cleaner, right? I know about cleaning because of proximity to real estate, but I'm not a professional cleaner. And I've also been a part of checking out like the different Airbnbs that my family owns, just to make sure that they're up to code and standard, but I'm still not a professional cleaner. So the the way that I've been hiring is I try to hire people with prior experience, because those are my first employees. And then I wanted to build from there. So after I see them clean, telling them what they missed, telling them what they're doing well, improving, and then establishing some sort of standard so that they could be the main like OGs of the company eventually, and hopefully, and then they can train everyone who comes after them.
Yeah, I like that thought process, because you're right. If you can get some, like, it seems like for a lot of people who have kind of whatever, quote unquote, made it, they had a diamond early on. And I've had a couple, meaning my managers, they're my longest employees, or some of them. And I didn't really have to train them, frankly. I mean, that little bit of correcting, but then they became the trainers, because I hate training. I loathe training.
Same.
Even though, I enjoy teaching, I don't enjoy teaching something that, like, frankly, I find very, like second nature, even though, I was never a professional cleaner, but I just knew what clean was and what it was not. And so it's frustrating if I have to keep repeating myself, and that is not a good trainer. You know what I mean? Something like that. You should be getting frustrated at that. But it's just not who I am. So I love to hear that. Hopefully one of these ladies will be that for you. So
I hope so.
Yeah, training is definitely a process though. So okay. So that sounds like a lot of things are going right, and you have a very good kind of vision for what you want. I mean, how would you describe your vision of not only the type of work that you're doing, but long-term, what do you want your business to be?
Yeah, so the full name is 2.0 Residential and Commercial Cleaning Enterprise. And so the reason why we put enterprise at the end is because we do want it to be a bigger conglomerate. So our vision is just being in the commercial space, in the residential space. I want to partner with big businesses, maybe even medical here in Austin. So like Austin Regional Clinic, I'd love a contract with, these bigger clinics, maybe even hospitals who need contractors. That's where I'm looking, because that's where I feel the most money is, and also longstanding relationships can be. I also have been learning like the value of residential, because whenever these contracts drop, what I've been hearing a lot of you professionals say is like residential is what can keep you steady. It's kind of hard to do both. My husband's been trying to do both and figure out our footing in both areas. And so right now we're just focusing on residential, because I think maybe commercial will come hopefully after they see the reviews that we're building up on Google. So
basically focus on residential now, because and I mean, honestly, from a bandwidth perspective, being that there's a lot of commercial in the evenings, and if you were to get a big boy early on, it can be very overwhelming. So really building that strong core and foundation on residential, it moves so well for commercial. And you made such a good point right there of one, I see that you're getting Google reviews, which is fantastic, but truly most of our commercial, if we're not doing that kind of outreach, drop-offs, like cold calling, cold emailing, that type of stuff, all the rest of our commercial either came from word of mouth via our residential clients, meaning our residential clients own businesses, right? They're the people who can afford cleaning and they're super busy. So, that is such a low hanging fruit of getting your foot in the door, especially as smaller commercial spaces. Like, they own a little shop, or they are a professional, they're like a therapist or something, and they have an office that you could do, or they sell insurance and they have a small office. Those are the perfect places to get your foot in the door for commercial. That's not this big giant, medical facility or something, which frankly, you're probably not going to get until you have some experience with commercial, which is great for the small guys. And then secondarily, Google, that's where it's Google, word of mouth, and then outreach via drop-offs and cold outreach, that type of stuff. So it sounds like you guys are definitely on the right path. Is your husband still working full time?
Yes, so he's still working full time.
I was like, gosh, did you guys both go all in on this? Because that would be really stressful. So, okay, that makes sense. As for residential, how are you getting that now? It's word of mouth, meaning they're talking to each other, they're sharing in the Facebook group, you said. What other avenues, or is that the main avenue right now?
That's the main avenue. I made a Thumbtack account, but I haven't purchased any leads from there because it said like $45 a lead or $30 a lead. It just seemed expensive to me at this time because I'm already paying for insurance. I'm paying for a lot of these platforms. I try to keep the softwares to a minimum, but I need some. Like I need ZenMaid, I need Gusto.
So this is what I will say is I would never personally use a Thumbtack or an Angie's List or anything like that, because this is what happens. Somebody posts for a job, like they're looking for a cleaner, and then they have 7,000 people jump on them. And it's very overwhelming. They're going to go for the lowest price because there is no way for their brains to differentiate who's who, what's what, who's actually better. So by the time you get to them, one, you have to be really quick. Two, there's just, you can't wine and dine them like you want to, as if they were coming to Google or something like that. I think your money would be much better spent getting Google local service certified. So LSA, which is basically, if you were to Google, you'll see at the top of the search results are going to be companies that say Google guaranteed. And that means they've gone through the LSA process, and you do pay for that when they call, but it's much, I think the bang for your buck is much stronger if you're going to pay in that manner. The other way, I am such a fan of free cleanings. Like, I think that should be your marketing budget, because you can utilize those in a lot of ways. One, to get your people hours. Two, get your cleaning systems and processes refined, figure out your production rates so you can figure out your pricing. And then if you say, hey, I will give you this free cleaning in exchange if you are comfortable with leaving a review, I would utilize that 100% to get your reviews up. But where you need to focus, considering it's going to take you a long time to get your reviews up to, there's a lot of companies in Austin that have been around for years. So it's hard to stand out with quantity of reviews, but you could stand out with video testimonials. Like, that should be your number one priority, is getting video reviews from happy clients and putting those at the top of your website, uploading them to your Google My Business, and you can boost those on Facebook if you want to pay for Facebook. So those will give you that will give you a leg up for sure on a lot of the competition and make you stand out, because nobody wants to do it. Like, everybody listening is like, ooh, I don't want to ask for a video review. Well, that's why you should, because nobody else is doing it. So if you have any, do you have any big fans right now? Like, I know you've only been open for a couple months, but do you have anybody who's like, they really like you, they really are a fan of you?
Yes, I do have some people that really like us. We have 8 reviews.
Yes.
We honestly,
a lot of people.
Right. To be honest, we really just started hitting the ground running like a couple weeks ago, where we've actually been doing like more cleanings. So, we have 8 reviews that span over the last 1 or 2 weeks that are people who are our fans and have been saying how great of a job we do and all that good stuff.
So you're going to want to hit them up for video testimonials. And I know that you're like, nobody's going to say yes. They totally will. You'd be surprised by how many. And if they say no, it's okay, because not everybody wants to. Don't take it personally. And so you always want to explain what you're going to ask them so that they're prepared. And I just say, hey, whenever it's convenient to you, I can come over to your house or show up at your work, whatever makes sense. I'm going to ask you these 3 things. What's your name and how did you hear about 2.0 cleaning services? How long have you been using us? And why would you recommend us to other homeowners? You ask them those 3, kind of 4 questions, and just let them talk. You get it on your cell phone. This is it. Literally 0 editing. We don't edit these at all. And then what you will need to do is you can put that on your Google My Business, as I mentioned, but you're going to want to start a YouTube channel for your business if you haven't already. And that's not to get subscribers. That's not to put any effort into a YouTube channel. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. YouTube is owned by Google. So Google likes to put YouTube results in search results. So if people search, Austin cleaning services near me or Austin house cleaning services, and your YouTube video has that in the title, all of a sudden it's going to pop up in the search results. And so now you have video reviews that are popping up. And that's a good way from a search engine perspective to actually start showing up organically. You don't have to pay for it. And they convince people more so than anything else will. And then again, like I said, on Facebook, if you do want to pay for advertising, those are the ones that are actually going to work. And then you're going to target very specific, you're going to target women in the age group that you're trying to hit in, certain neighborhoods or whatever, and you boost those videos. Along with, I think having a no-brainer offer is something that everybody should consider. And what that phrase means is it would be silly to not take this offer. And so for us, you'll oftentimes see, get your first lawn cleaning or lawn mowing for $1 or get your first carpet cleaning for $50 or whatever. I do not recommend that for a first time cleaning because we all know how labor intensive that is. And you're going to get people who just come for one-offs. So Serene Cleans is book your first cleaning, get your second 50% off. So you can totally use that because you're trying to get people in the habit of having a house cleaner. So if you were to do that, then all of a sudden you put that in your Facebook ad, you put that all over and really promote that. Now you've got an offer that's enticing. So, and put it right at the top of your website, because while your website looks beautiful, I think it doesn't really make me want to take action with anything, right? So the goal is we are sending them to our ZenMaid booking form. We are trying to get them to fill out that booking form. This is also why I don't put prices on websites, is because we don't want people to be startled away, by a high price before we've had that opportunity to really sell. And did you have prices on your website?
I don't have prices. I just have how much add-ons cost on my website, but not actual prices.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. I think it's just people, they get that sticker shock and you haven't gotten their email yet. You haven't gotten their phone to actually interact with them. So we want to get their contact information before we start throwing out the prices, I think. So that
I do have a question about the 50% off. So I tried because of you. Yeah. I've tried the buy the first cleaning, get the second one 50% off. I recently changed it to 25 because I don't have that much money right now. But my question is, what I'm experiencing is a lot of people who will buy the first cleaning and then they'll want the second one 50% off, but 2 or 3 months later, which is another deep cleaning. Is there a time limit on that? Yep. Is it within a month?
We enforce that they only get the discount if the second cleaning is within a month, as long as it's let me explain this correctly. So if it's our fault, meaning we don't have availability to get them in within a month because we're really booked, we will still honor that if it's a little over. It's okay, it was 6 weeks, but it's our fault. We don't have the availability. That's not going to be your problem. Okay. So be very firm. And we put that in little asterisks, or we'll put that on the first initial email of hey, as a thank you for having us, this is what it is, as long as it's performed within 1 month of the first. And it doesn't have to be this secret thing or anything like that, but that will save you, because that's exactly why I have that, because people will do that and try to game the system, if you will. So great question. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was no, I don't think. I've also had recently really crazy experience where, like you said, I'm still learning pricing. And so I accidentally, didn't ask for before pictures, didn't do a walkthrough. We get to a home and, it's
Bad.
it should have been a $400 or $500 job, maybe more. And I only charged two. So things like that have been happening to me, which may just be like growing pains of
this is where
being a new business, but
yeah, absolutely. And so what you just said is so how are you charging right now?
Right now I'm doing flat rate, but I'm trying to do a hybrid model where I still calculate hourly on the back end. So like I'll do flat rate and then I'll double check with what you said, like how it should at least be 55 an hour, just to make sure it kind of evens out. But I don't know my production rate very well. So like I may say something takes 4 hours, but because they have a dog, it actually took 6, So that's where I've been messing up.
Yeah, what you just described, so you are flat rate. You are just double checking your numbers. So a hybrid model typically is going to be where you charge hourly for the charge to the customer, an hourly price for a first time, and then switch to flat rate for maintenance, which could be a good option for you while you're learning, and especially because first times. So I think that's one of the biggest problems we all face in the beginning is we drastically underestimate how long first times are going to take, and also what the typical house is going to be. A solution that could help is on your booking form, you could have them rate their home on a scale of like 1 to 10, of like 1 is you could eat off the floor, 10 is the exact opposite of that, however you want to phrase it to not offend people. And if they were to rate their home like over like a 5 or above, you could then add $200 to the price or something along those lines. And so taking a look at, okay, that first time clean, what were the things was it pets? Was it number of children? Like what types of things, was there anything like that maybe we could have asked on the front end that would have indicated that what you were walking into, even though I've seen single alone people live, as if they had 7 children and 12 dogs. But was there anything that could have, any intake that could have happened? Because we don't do it in-person walkthroughs. What we do is, we say in our estimate email, this estimate is based off of homes the size of yours in the, typical state of a first time clean. If there is any additional buildup, this may add time and cost, and we will communicate that with you. And so our cleaners, when they get there, if they're like, whoa, Nelly, it's way worse. You have that at that moment saying, hey, we are going to have to increase the budget, or you're going to need to remove some rooms to maintain that same price. And depending on how far off you are, most likely you're probably just going to have to increase your first time rates. I think it's good. Whatever your number you're using to calculate is probably too fast, So if I were like, let's walk through this. Let's give you an example. Say I have a 2,000 square foot house. What questions are you going to ask me, and what is your formula for figuring this out? And you might not have one. Don't feel bad. That's why we're walking through this.
I would ask how many square foot. You told me 2,000. I would ask the floor type. If it's like carpet, I would calculate more in my head. And then I would ask, is this before I made the mistake the other day, or is it now that I learned?
No, now that I learned. What is version 2 pricing? And you'll get to version 7 eventually.
Okay. My version 2, now that I learned, I would ask if you have any pets and what breed it is. I would want to know that. I would want to know the last time your home was cleaned professionally. I would want to do the scale, which I have on my website, but I don't ask that on the phone. And not a lot of people go to my website. So I would ask that like verbally on the phone, the scale of like how dirty, how many bedrooms and bathrooms, if it's a 2-story home. And I think that's it.
Okay. Got it. When you say flooring type, you said, and this might have been a misspeak, if carpet, you add more?
Yeah, if it's an all carpet 2-story house, it costs more.
So the reason I'm asking is, like, hard floors, you have to vacuum and mop, where carpet you only have to vacuum. So there's only one pass versus 2. So do you find, like, is carpet taking you longer?
I find carpet is taking longer because I don't have like any backpack vacuums or anything that helps it
Yeah,
move faster.
we don't use backpack vacuums either. We never have.
Okay. And also they sweep, which probably takes longer. So they
Okay.
don't vacuum hardwood, they sweep.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, for some reason, figured like carpet, maybe there's stains on it, maybe there's gunk, it just seems strenuous. And then you're going upstairs with carpet. I don't know. I just thought it would take longer.
I gotcha. Well, and it very well could, depending on what you guys do. Like, we don't handle any staining, like it's a strict vacuum. Like, we're not repairing any of their misdeeds or stains or anything like that. So, where I would say hardwoods or hard floors, because you have to do 2 passes, could take longer. Also, people seem to complain more. Like, there's more opportunity to complain with hard floors, like where carpet, I'm not saying don't do a good job vacuuming, but it's easier to like hide if you didn't do a good job on carpet, which is not the goal, but I find people are going to complain more on hard floors. So either way, honestly, we don't keep that, like, we don't really take that into account on pricing. Like, it's just, so not to like dig into this particular point, but I was just curious about it. So from there, okay, I've given you this information. What now? How are you figuring out that price?
So right now I would just get my calculator. Let me get my calculator. And I would do I tell you like my rate that I'm charging right now?
Yeah, let's run through it and see how it works.
Okay. I would do 2,000 times 0.15 and see how much that is, which is 300. And then I would think about like how long do I think a 2,000 square foot home would take? I would say 4 hours. 5 hours.
For a first time?
Yes.
With one cleaner, so 5 man hours.
Yes.
Okay.
I would think it would take 5 hours total for a first time clean. So I would do 5 times 55, and that equals 275. So that was close to my original 300. And I would probably quote you somewhere near 275 and 300.
Okay. So the 0.15, what was that from? 200
times
0.1.
How many cents per square foot I tried to charge for a deep clean. I've been looking at possibly 0.20, but I kind of think that scares people away. So 0.15 is what I was quoting previously.
Got it. So have you done any, have you done any cleanings of a size of the home, and how long has that actually taken you for a first time?
So we've done a lot more condos. So what seems to be our market right now for our company specifically is like bachelors and bachelorettes that live in high rises downtown that like aren't ever home and want their home clean. So those are like 1 bedroom, 1 baths. And that, like, I've had one that took 6 hours, which I didn't know if that was normal or not. As far as a home, my first home was the one that I made a mistake on, and I quoted $200. And it had like cat litter, cat urine, trash on the floor. I think it had like maggots in the corner.
Okay, so I'm gonna now go through some numbers. So saying a 2,000 square foot home would take 5 man hours for a first time would bring you to 400 square feet per man hour for an initial clean. I think that is, at least, and this is where what tasks you are doing heavily dictates these things, because my first time clean may be different than yours, but for Serene Clean and the checklist that we follow, which I'd be happy to send you the checklist because I'm not sure what tasks you guys are completing, but let's say you guys are similar. For us, our first time production rate is about 150 square foot per man hour. So for that same house, we would estimate that it would take us, if I could do math here, that would be a 13 to 15 man hour job for us for a first time. So the price that we would guess and the price that we would give them. So I take the 13 by 55 would be $715, and 15 times 55 would be $825. So that would be the estimate that we would give that homeowner is your first time cleaning will be between $715 and $825. And they will take it and they will say yes. And that's in rural Wisconsin. And the reason is because we show them the how. So I think you are drastically under on your, and I think the more first times you do, the more you'll see this is that people's houses are way dirtier than we think. Like what you think is probably an extreme dirty that when you saw, that's like the norm, unless they've had a recent like house cleaner. And even then, sometimes they're still bad, because other people aren't cleaning well. So I think you're going to run into, and what I would say is, yes, just all of these first times that you're going to do, start running these numbers and seeing how fast did we actually clean it and got it done, and what did we make? And this is where you just start adjusting. Okay, 5 wasn't enough. Was 6 enough? Was 7 enough? Was 8 enough? Because as I just said, we would triple the price that you give them and the time it would take. I would have 2 cleaners there for, darn near a whole day to get that house done. So a 1 bedroom, 1 bath for us, we would probably be there for like 6 to 8 man hours. Again, depending on dirtiness for sure.
So man hours is the cost of everybody who's working there, like their hours combined, right?
Yep. So labor hours is another way that people we'll call it. And the reason you'll hear me use this phrase so much is because it can get confusing otherwise, because if I say this clean will be 4 hours, well, with how many cleaners, right? And so that's why we say that. And I saw another question on one of the episodes. So I just want to clarify this right now is that say you have 2 cleaners on it, then that's still the same number of labor hours. It doesn't change anything. So if you always run teams, I still would just do it by labor hours. Otherwise, you're going to confuse yourself, possibly confuse your cleaners, because for us, then we put the notes. This cleaning is approved for up to 15 man hours. Our cleaners know they are not allowed to go over that. And so you're like, well, what happens if they don't get it done? You need to have your cleaners do that initial walkthrough. And once they start getting used to like what is normal, what is not, at that time, when they first walk through, they can say, no way, this is, heads up, Gentry, this is dirtier than a typical first time. What we do is we have our cleaners start in the kitchen and then the bathrooms, the hardest rooms. And then they do a pause and say, is there enough time left over? Because for us, in 5 hours, we wouldn't even get to the kitchen and bathrooms in a home like that, because there's probably 3 bathrooms. Most full baths take an hour the first time. A kitchen, I've seen kitchens take 3 to 4 hours, depending on how dirty they are. And move out's even worse because you have to do the interiors of everything. So that's when they take that time and check in and reach out and say, hey, not enough time. We need more. So I would say start implementing that now. You're going to lose your butt a little bit on some of these jobs as you're learning, but this is when you start learning is, Am I pricing enough? And now, of course, your question is going to be, nobody's going to take that price. How could I possibly get that? And that's where the branding and marketing comes in. That's where having a beautiful checklist that you send and attach. And if somebody comes back and says, heck no, that's too high, our rebuttal is, well, what is your budget? And then we work within their budget. And what I mean by that is we make a limited hour agreement, or for you, it would be a limited room agreement or whatever of we will clean for this amount or do only these rooms. And they kind of can a la carte together the rooms. We won't remove tasks because we don't do that, but we could remove rooms to fit their budget. And often, many of our clients are on limited hour agreements. Like as reoccurring clients, we go for 3 hours every time, and we work off their priority list. They leave us a list every time and say, work on these rooms this time. So that could be a good way to get some clients for sure. But
I just had a question. What do you tell?
I know I've been talking a lot, so.
Okay. So this last clean where I made this mistake, I went in person. I saw how it was, and I pulled her to the side and I said, or I think it was on the phone, and I said, hey, we charge by the hour, $50 an hour. That's why it was $200 around. This is not going to be a 4-hour job based on what I'm seeing. So then she says, well, I didn't see anything about hours in your policies, which is true. And so I'm wondering, what do I share with the client? Because do I share, I charge 55. Let's say I go the hourly rate because I think that makes the most sense. They are basically paying for my labor because I always end up getting the short end of the stick with labor when I do flat rate. So if I go the hourly rate, do I tell them I'm charging you $55 per person on this job?
So the reason you are getting always the flat end is because you're not pricing enough yet as flat rate. Flat rate works if you know how to price. You don't know how to price yet. You're pricing your jobs too low. So I would suggest doing hourly now, at least for first times, so that you don't lose your butt. The client does not care if they're being charged flat rate. It does not matter. It's irrelevant to them what your numbers are, because for them, the price is the price. You told me 200 to get this job done. So that's on you if you lose your butt. They don't care. So yes, I would not share. One thing you could do is say, this is $250 and it is guaranteed for up to 6 man hours of work. Anything over that will be charged at this hourly rate. That is one method. But at that point, then just charge hourly, if you want to. This is where, the language we use so that, because you're like, well, the client wants to know what the end price is. The language we use for charging hourly is, we will not go over this amount. This is what we estimate to get the job done. But if for some reason we believe that we're going to need more time, that will be communicated before we ever get near that time limit. And that's why we have the cleaners check in there. Yes, they don't care what you're, this is where, that's the client's prerogative is to get obviously the cheapest work done. So,
and I had her complain too. Well, you said hourly and it's already been an hour and they're still in the bathroom. I mean, the bathroom had a ton of buildup, Stephanie, like it had hair, buildup, stuff on the floor, trash, right? So like it did take an hour for her in the bathroom. That wasn't her fault in my mind. What do we do about that? So when they're clock watching, they're watching the clock and they're complaining about the speed of the cleaners.
Yeah. So this is something where you're the professional. Like I would like to see them clean it in an hour. You can't say that, obviously. You can't be like, well, then you go clean it in an hour. That's what we want to say, but we can't say that. So this is where explaining from the get-go, initial cleans take significantly longer than maintenance cleans, even if we're completing the same tasks, which we are. Cleaning a toilet for the first time that's never been cleaned in 6 months takes much longer. And you could even say in your guidelines, or your initial estimate for in general, first time cleans of bathrooms take upwards of an hour, and masters, I've seen an hour and a half, because they've got a full tub and a giant walk-in shower and it's all like crazy. Like some of these bathrooms are literally like a whole bedroom, So yes, clock watchers are not your ideal clients for sure. It's always the risk of it. And if they've never had a professional cleaner or a good one, then yes, they'll be like, why is it taking so long? And this is where I think on the front end, you can beat this by explaining, we're incredibly detailed, which means that it is going to take longer, but you will definitely appreciate that level of detail. So, this is where getting that social proof, you're already doing that, but even like leaning into that further of like, they're super detailed. That's what we're going for, that, so it's not about price.
Yeah, I think I can definitely do that. And I went on ZenMate and I saw your checklist, your 130 point checklist. Yep,
there we go.
And that's what I use. Perfect. So maybe I just need to figure out a way. I still haven't figured out, this seems so simple, but I haven't figured out a way to make the checklist pretty on a piece of paper on Canva, because I don't know, Canva's not working for me as far as checklists with the little, the format is not working. But anyway, I would love to like email that to people. And I think that would help me as well, because right now I just took a screenshot of the ZenMate and I'll like text it to them.
I'll send you an email, our pretty one, because it's exactly what you're using in ZenMate. It's just pretty and like
Yeah,
market
pretty.
worthy. Yeah, I'll share that with you. You'll get a copy of it. So I think I have your email. So yes, I will send that to you so you can use that for marketing purposes. Because yeah, when you attach that to the estimate or the bid or whatever, all of a sudden it clicks in their minds, because we're not like this. I would say is something I see with newbies, and not just newbies, lots of established businesses where they say, well, we dust all the surfaces, we do all the floors, like, and they just kind of give an overarching like short list of all of the things that they do, which may be a very expansive thing. But until you see that over and over in every single room, it just doesn't click for them. Like spell it out exactly what is going to happen. And also that allows for no scope creep, meaning like if they all of a sudden are asking you to do things that, you know, it's not established if you do it or not, or put that pressure on your cleaners, especially.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon too. So that gives your cleaners something to point to and say, nope, this is the work that we do. So yeah, no,
Okay.
I totally understand though. Clock watchers are never fun and they never last. Like they never stick around as clients.
Yeah, I was like, we did such amazing work. I mean, it was night and day how it looked when we left. And so it just felt so like, I mean, it's a thankless job for sure, but it felt very thankless. I had another question about apartments, but I don't want to hijack your.
No, I mean, this is your call, girl. Like,
Okay. I was like, let me ask her while I have her. So I've been going to apartments. A lot of my door-to-door is with apartments. And so what I've been noticing is apartments sometimes don't have the budget. Like they have this huge scope of work or like huge apartment building with so many square feet. I did 3-hour walkthroughs, which I'm learning not to do because I would spend 3 to 4 hours walking through an entire apartment, measuring the floor extensively and then like tripling it. It was this whole thing. And then they'd be like, oh, well, we only want to pay like $150 to clean. I guess I'm not understanding how to price apartments. Maybe in Austin, what I have noticed is there is like a very big industry for lowballing. So I've had people come back and say, I need you to clean this for $84 because we have a lot of not companies, like we have just like
individuals,
freelancers,
who are working for cash,
and then
probably.
yeah, and they'll say, oh yeah, I'll clean it for $80, and then they don't do good work, and then they're complaining that their cleaners don't do good work. So I'm wondering, how do you price for apartments? Do you do it by the floor, gradually over time? I don't know.
So just to specify, when you say you want apartment buildings, are you saying the turnover cleans of the spaces or the common areas of the complexes?
The common area. So what I've been getting is interest in common areas, leasing office, hallways, and elevators.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, we actually have quite a few of these. One, don't waste your time measuring anything. It doesn't, like, nobody measures for commercial. Like it's a waste of time and it annoys people.
It's exhausting.
And honestly, yeah, it's just eyeballing really is like the way in commercial, I find. So yes, we're going to walk through, number one, if they have this budget in mind, like, okay, reining them in like during of like, okay, we're really high quality. So either you need to remove some of these things, like, and I guess what we will do is we will give them several options in the bid. Like, here is what you guys are telling us you want, and this is the price. This is your budget and what we can do for that budget, and maybe a middle option as well. And so that kind of gives them the illusion of choice. And then you say, what should we do, client? Because then when they see it spelled out of like, okay, I have multiple options, and all of a sudden it can make it glaringly obvious that their number is too low of what they are looking for. So when it comes to actually pricing it, yeah, we just, taking a look at, this is where, vacuuming versus sweeping and mopping can make a big difference, because some of these hallways are just like super long of these complexes, right? So yes, we'll count how many long hallways, how many stairways, how many elevators. And we're literally we have this walkthrough, I guess, packet that we're filling in like how many spaces of each and what they want done in each space. And then as we're doing the walkthrough, we're just doing rough estimates of how long we think each space is going to take based on the tasks that they want. So there is a lot of like guesstimating, but you get better and better at it over time. And then once you do get one and you say, well, that one takes this long, and it's this, that like you literally can start timing yourself when you do get one and say, well, hallways take me on average 10 minutes when they're, this size or whatever. So you kind of start to hone that process. But I would say if they're coming back and saying, well, the budget is 150 and you think no way, no how, you can certainly say what I just suggested of the multiple options, or you just don't take them. That's not an ideal client then. If they're cheapies, then we don't do dentist off. We have done dentist office over and over again. It's been a complete failure because they're cheap. Same with daycares. They don't have the money, yet it is so much work. It's so much work. They're super picky. And it's just really hard to please them. So now we're like, you know what? Screw dentist office, screw daycares, and not it's not like there's anything wrong with those people. It's just, it doesn't match what we're trying to do. So trying to shove that square peg into the round hole, it just doesn't make sense. So I would say you can keep trying and keep giving them their price. Or what you could do is perhaps, you could say, I will do a deep clean of your administrative space for free to show you what real cleaning is like. And then I can give you my bid. And see if they would take that. That could be a good option. And honestly, again, for you, of just saying like, how long does this actually take? When you do perhaps do one of these free ones, then you can say from experience, well, actually for apartment common spaces, this is how long it takes. So you may not be aware how long of time this takes. And considering we pay our staff well, this is why. Oh, and by the way, this is why you don't want to use a freelancer for all of these reasons, right? They potentially don't have insurance. If they were to get hurt, there's no standardization. There's no backup plan. Like all of the reasons why you're a good choice as a company. Companies are more expensive, right? So a lot of it is education. And in the sales process, I think one of our biggest challenges is we just give a price, but we don't sell. So I think
that's my challenge.
Really taking a look at, are you selling? Are you wooing? Are you wining and dining them? Are you romancing them into the sale? Or are you just saying, yep, here's the price? Like really taking a look at what does your bid look like? Literally, what does the document look like? Does it sell for you? So what I can do, I'll send you our one sheet too. And that's like our snazzy little sales sheet. So you'll be able to see what that looks like, and you'll be able to edit that in Canva. So that'll help you wine and dine. And anybody listening, you guys can all buy this from me on my website. But Gentry gets it. She was gracious enough. Yes. So I will gladly help you. And honestly, if you ever do have a commercial space, you're like, I don't know how to bid this, send me the details and I'll help you walk through it. But the biggest thing also is doing a video walkthrough when you're doing these walkthroughs. So sorry, how many times have I said walkthrough here? So when you do a walkthrough, at the end, our final step is we're going to take an actual video going over all of the spaces. This is good for your cleaners if you do get the bid, so that they can see the layout. Where does garbage go? This is where you park. This is where you enter. This is where all the supplies are. But then for you to bid, because sometimes that walkthrough is so nerve wracking, it's like we completely blank and don't remember anything that happened. So having an actual video will help jog your memory as well. But honestly, apartment complexes, they might just not be your ideal and likely buyer for commercial. So if you're finding they're cheap, stop going after them. Start with easier places, which could be those professional service buildings for us, manufacturing facilities, trucking terminals, and government, like local government buildings, city halls, libraries. Those are our good commercial accounts. So we have apartment complexes. They certainly don't make up a big portion for us. And I find the people that I talk to in big cities, those they're cheap. They have a very limited budget. And they're not afraid to cut either if they want to get somebody cheaper. So I think it just might not be your people to go after that.
Yeah, I think I need to figure out even you just naming those places really quick, that helped me, because I don't really know who to go after, I'm still learning who my ideal client is, who would be a good fit for me right now as we're growing, because I do want some commercial, but on a scale that we can manage, but also profit from. So I need ideas on what to do. So that makes sense.
And that's just from my own experience over time of having so much commercial, of looking at our active commercial. And I'm about to do a presentation on this. That's why it's so clear in my head right now. I just did a bunch of number crunching of our commercial accounts. But yes, so the majority from a numbers perspective are actually going to be professional services, but in a wide variety. So I think broadening your terms of what is a professional service, this is going to be a lot of blue collar offices. So it could be HVAC or insulation or lawn care, or they install whatever, like places that do blue collar work, they have office and administrative buildings that need to be serviced. But then, of course, like I mentioned, when it comes to anybody like lawyers, insurance people, accountants' offices, we have several of those. Just any type of like random service, those are really great. Our biggest account is a government contract. Those are much harder to get, so I wouldn't consider like that's your ideal in the beginning. But go look and find the industrial parks in Austin. There's a ton of money in there, like industrial dirty jobs, whatever you want to call them. Like where boys are welding, there is money. So go walk in there and do what you did. Take them donuts, say hello, introduce yourself, ask how they're doing their cleaning, because there's so much money in manufacturing facilities. And I think it's just, we don't see those. Like when we're driving through town, like if it's a factory, it's like we just don't even see it. And so those will be really great places. So commercial, we're so blind to, it's all around us. There's businesses literally on every single street and we just don't even see it. We're blind.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Do you charge the same amount for commercial as far as like man-hour cost?
Yeah, we try to aim for around 50 is the goal for us. So a little bit cheaper, but some of them were much higher because that's all flat rate, of course. So when we're doing our audits on that, we have some commercial that we're making upwards of, 60, 65. It just depends how fast we can speed through and what their like daily needs are. And we're just trying to push and get the price as high as we can and still think what do we think that they are going to take. And honestly, that has a lot to do with like how many people are bidding it, like if we have that information. But overall, at this point, we're shooting for 55 per man hour. But if it comes in a little under, we're totally fine with it. Anything that we're making less than like 45, that means that they need a price increase. And we just did that on a dance studio that we had serviced for, I think, over a year. And we did that audit and we were consistently taking way longer because I did that walkthrough. I'm the one who bid it, and I drastically underbid because dance studios are horrific. There's walls of mirrors and there's all these studios that have to be like, they're huge, right? And it's a beautiful facility. So finally, we did the audit. This just happened last month and we gave them the price increase and they dropped us. But that's good because we weren't making the money we needed to make. So keeping that in mind, that even if that top revenue number is good, that means nothing if the numbers, when you do the math, don't make sense. Like, so don't be dazzled by a high price. Like, does it actually make sense is all that matters. So, commercial, it's tough. It is tough pricing, but you start to get the hang of it. Doesn't mean you won't make mistakes and you need to do a correction, I'd rather lose an account that I'm not making money at, than keep it just to keep it,
Yeah, I'm excited about this free cleaning idea, not only for residential, but like you had said, for maybe a leasing office, or there's this plastic surgery, I think it's like Botox place that I've had my eye on, so I can offer them a free clean. So I'm excited about that kind of stuff. Yeah,
and honestly, again, like timing it of like, okay, can you do a bathroom? How long did that take you? And then you're starting to compile your data to then accurately go off of it. And that's actually one of our big projects that we're tackling in Serene Clean this year is we are going to be doing very nitty gritty account audits of our current commercial and timing in each space so that we could, I'm hoping that by the end of 2025, I will be able to tell you exactly how long the typical lobby of this size takes, or exactly how long bathrooms with this number stalls and urinals take, because I have all of the data just sitting there, but we just need to like put basically we're going to have our quality controller, Hannah, go along with the cleaner, time them. She's going to have a stopwatch and note how long it takes. So it's a lot of work, but I think it's going to help us accurately price going forward in the future to prevent these kind of boo-boos that I'm describing. And the reason, like, this is just hard work. And that's so, if you do get a commercial space, what I just described, do that. Start figuring out those numbers while you're small, because then as you grow, it'll make it a lot easier for you.
Okay.
And you can do that for residential too. Like you just described of like the bathroom, like, okay, does it take you guys on average an hour for a first time clean in a bathroom? So then that. What do all rooms take, and that's where free cleaning like I said, can be really useful because you can take that time and do those audits without the pressure of the clock as much because the client isn't paying. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm gonna work on that literally today. I'm excited about that.
Man.
Free cleanings. And I'm also going to do I haven't seen a lot of cleaning companies like tabling events, so I'm gonna do an event in April, and hopefully I was thinking of using the free cleaning idea that I've heard you say before and do a raffle. So I thought that would be a way to spread the word too.
We haven't done many in-person events because COVID, but the ones that we have done, that's exactly, people just flock to our tables because we have a free cleaning giveaway that they enter, they start talking, you give and have a ton of your checklist printed out so you can hand those out and use them as a marketing tool. The one sheets as well. And then I know like your whole giving initiatives, I think that anything you can do to make that pretty and marketable. And what I mean by that is if you could have a sheet talking about what you do in the community. And so you could, right now, you could start a cleaning nomination program. Doesn't mean you have to clean everybody who's nominated, but it's there so that when you do have the ability or maybe somebody canceled and you want to make sure your cleaner has hours, consider that free marketing as well. Those people are likely to give you reviews and you can really limit it of like, we're coming for 3 hours. You know, at the end of the day, you have the program. Joining Cleaning for a Reason, if you haven't already, is very useful from a marketing perspective. And, you know, having the employee chosen local donations. So every month you're donating to a charity locally and highlighting that on your social media, highlighting it on your website, and then now you've got this other program, right? So just kind of systematizing generosity, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money because you don't have a lot of money. So $25 a month, that's how much I gave in the beginning. It was $25 a month. I was like, okay, I'm going to donate this every month until I could up that as we grew. But the system was there, like the desire to help was there, and so that's there for you already. How could you put that into a pretty snazzy little? This is all the things that we do, you know, because people are a lot more likely to share companies that have these social responsibility structures in place.
Yes, I love that. Okay. I need to figure out, like I said, I did my website from this man on Fiverr who's great. However, I don't know how to edit it myself. So like, I don't know how to upload these videos. And so I'll figure that out. Like maybe I need someone else. Maybe I need to learn. I don't know. But
yeah, and if most likely he did it on WordPress, it looks like a WordPress website, and that's very easy to log in and use their little builders or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely say if you can manage your own website updates, like especially simple things like uploading videos or photos, that'll save you a lot of money. Or just pay somebody else on Fiverr to do if you have enough changes. But,
I mean, he does it for free, but he takes forever, and that's why it's free.
Right?
So
I
want it done right now.
Yeah. And, you know, honestly, you could even pay somebody to teach you how, like, hey, you know, like, how do I do all of this? And that, you know, the whole, you'll be the man getting taught how to fish. And then you don't need to get them to fish for you.
Yes, exactly. And you said my website was good because I know you mentioned like SEO.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. Let me pull it again. Let me look and see if there's anything else that I, let's see here. You can still see me, right?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so from the homepage, this is where, like, I would say the
call to action.
It's pretty. Yeah, the call to, like, okay, so when I first load the page, which is going to be the above the fold, it says Revolutionizing Cleaning 2.0 Residential and Commercial Cleaning Enterprise. That is where I would put your no-brainer offer, which is going to be the call to action. Because right now, that doesn't make me feel like, why do I care about that? It's just your business name. You know, like if that is prime real estate on your website, it should be doing something for you. Scrolling down, you need pictures of you on this homepage. All right. Because these photos could be anybody. They could be any company, anywhere. All of the photos are totally generic and they're stock images. And so get some photos of you, of your family, sell who you are. Right. And like your history and your story is your perspective and it's unique to you. Your about company section on this homepage, that could be anybody's, right? So how can you make it that only the story could be yours? That's what your website needs to have, is this unique perspective. And then, you know, how are you going to solve their pain? Why are you different? So really focusing on like what is the pain that your clients are feeling, and how are you going to solve it comparatively to everybody else? Because right now it's pretty, but it could be anybody's website. So how do you make it Gentry? So that is what I would focus on and really think about, is like spinning your unique flair on it, as well as adding those video testimonials. Because again, that makes it like, oh, this is them, not anybody else. So yeah, those are the big things. If you made those changes, honestly, you'd see a big improvement already, I think, from your for your booking. So and then just let me look at your booking form here if there's any other questions I would ask. Okay. Oh, you spelled gauge wrong on your booking form, so correct that.
Gauge. Let me write that down.
Yeah. Let's see here. What you could do is, we have a booking form made for both residential and commercial. So if they're commercial, they can go to that, so that we can tailor the questions for commercial only. And then that way your booking form isn't trying to do both. I would make a separate one and have it put on either the same page, and just have a little, they call them anchors. And so if you click on the anchor at the top, it'll jump them down to the commercial one, because that's appropriate.
Okay.
There could be, and then when it comes to the other questions, I would ask, I would ask about pets and kids, because that drastically dictates time potentially, where you could start at, doing things like that. Let's see here. And then I would ask something to allow you to sell better. And what do I mean by that is, a question we have is, what spaces in your home are stressing you out the most, or what is so stressful about maintaining your home currently? Because whatever they put there, that is how you sell to them, because they're telling you their pain. So then when you call or when you email, you can empathize, be like, I totally get it. Like, it is so hard to keep up with the kitchen when you're so busy, and I can tell how busy you are. All of a sudden they feel heard, but they like you more. So that's why we're asking questions like that. And also that means for your cleaners, we'll say, nail that kitchen, because obviously that's their biggest stress point. So that helps you dictate to your cleaners what they need to focus on. So I would make those couple little tweaks too. But otherwise, yeah, but booking form is beautiful. It's an unmade booking form. Of course it's beautiful, but that will help you be able to sell better for sure.
Okay, that makes sense. I will definitely fix that, and the gauge misspelling.
I was a spelling bee girl growing up, so
yeah, you caught that fast.
Okay, well, I mean, I feel like you got a lot to work off. How are you feeling? Do you feel hopefully excited?
I feel good. I feel excited. I feel like related to, because that's something I've been struggling with, is like, when I say like I own a cleaning business, a lot of people, they don't, it's not this glamorous job, I guess. And a lot of people don't understand that there's like money in it. So I feel like I get even some derogatory comments a little bit.
Oh yeah. And I know for myself, like I have this chip on my shoulder that if I say I own a cleaning company, I feel then I have to quantify I'm not cleaning, or not cleaning anymore.
Yeah.
And it's because I know that people are judging it. And it's like, that's still something I struggle with to this day, of like, I want people to respect this, because I know the work and that it is respectable. But the nice thing at the end of the day is you're going to make more money than them. So
I feel like I have to prove that there's money in it. I have to say, like you said, I've been asked like, well, how long, like, are you the maid, or like, and not that there's anything wrong with being a maid, but it's just like, I own the business. I'm a businesswoman. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, it's like our employees versus us. Like, we're not better than them 100%. No. It's different. Like, owning a business is one of the most challenging things that anybody will ever do. Right. So you feel, the effort that goes into it, but at the end of the day, like, it really doesn't matter what they think. And especially that's why it is like, I know the work that you put in, and, your husband knows, and the people that matter to you. So it's like, unless, they're paying your bills. I mean, maybe if they're a client, I guess that's where you don't need to tell them, you can show them. My clients know that Serene Clean is special and different because they experience it, with every single interaction. It is totally different. And I have classmates who have started cleaning companies, and it's very different, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I know that I don't have to say anything. My work speaks for itself. And so that should be the goal for you, is your work just speaks for itself. You don't need to justify. It doesn't matter. But yeah, this leaning into the industry is going to be really helpful for you, and just, keeping connection. Yeah.
I definitely feel you relating to me. So I appreciate that. And my last question, because I actually really want to tell you this, because you're a cleaning boss. I recently had an employee tell me, when she got mad, when she was fired, you just come and go as you please. How do you explain to employees like your role, or you're not there cleaning with them? It's the same way if a man was your boss. A lot of men don't get down and clean with you. They come, they supervise, they leave, they come back. So how do you break that down, or do you just let them go when you see that resentment building of you coming and going, or what do you think?
So I started as a cleaner, and this was actually an adjustment period for some of my longest cleaners. Is I was cleaning beside them, and then I wasn't. And then I moved to Georgia. So moving from Wisconsin to Georgia, and really, really, they do not see me working at all. And I know that there was some questions there. And first coming from it, like giving them the benefit of the doubt, because I get it. We've all been in roles where we're like, gosh, the boss just makes money off of us and blah, 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 having no inkling of what they do. So we have team meetings every week, and I share little parts of my day, things I'm working on, things that like I will share what I'm working on. I will also give kudos to my management team, because they are doing most of the they're managing the day to day, but that's what you're doing. So I will call out like difficult situations that they had to go through, because that's all behind the curtain. The cleaners don't experience that. So I'll talk about nightmares that the management team had to deal with, so that the cleaners can understand how freaking hard it is to manage a business. And then we also talk about nightmares the cleaners have gone through. So there's just this like level of empathy building. I would say if you're not having team meetings, that's the perfect, I know it's just, you're very small right now. Start it now. Start this culture now of like, what challenges did you have? Let me share some of the challenges I have had, and really like give them a peek behind the curtain, because I think they won't understand or empathize. And at the end of the day, I've definitely had that comment of like, must be nice or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you're right. It is nice. Go try it. Go ahead and just watch them try and fail. So honestly, because they're going to. So I don't let it bother me too much. I just try to show them with the effort, and as the business builds, like they know that that's not just happening by itself. Like there's a bunch of effort that's being put into it. So you're still early on. You're going to continue to improve the business. So don't let it get to you. If somebody makes those comments, they most likely are not going to work out. So like if they say something along the lines of, you just come and go as you please, blah, blah, blah. Do they not know, like, this is where I just want to like be very blunt to people. Do they not know how business works? The boss can't be doing all of the labor. Who's going to do all of the management stuff and, sell and grow the business. So, was that a current cleaner, or was that the cleaner that left?
That was the cleaner that left.
Yeah.
And, I try not to let things bother me, but that really bothered me, because I was like, I have to market. I was going to run payroll that day, so I had to leave. Like, I was like,
you have nothing to prove to somebody like that. And if she, just like you said, she maybe is meant to own a business, you'll never get that closure. She's going to know exactly what you were doing when she tries to do it. So, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And keeping that in mind of like, people are going to misunderstand you. People are going to think bad things about you. People are not even going to try to understand your backstory or who you are. I've had that, and that kind of self-righteousness or wanting to justify ourselves, like that is something that we all just constantly need to work on, because it's like, I don't need to justify myself to people that I don't want to be in their place. Like you don't want to you don't want to be her. So why are you caring so much? And I'm not saying that to judge you. I'm saying that to myself as well, because it's like, I am a people pleaser, and I've always had this problem of like, I want everybody to like me and to, feel like, that I'm understood. We all just want to feel understood. And so you felt very strongly misunderstood there. And so of course you want to explain yourself, but explaining yourself to her wouldn't have changed her mind. She already had her. So there's no point in trying. So just saving your energy for the people who actually care to know you and care to understand. And employees don't always have to understand. They just have to do. And if they have that bad of an attitude, then why do you want them on your team anyway? My best employees don't question me on what I do,
Yeah. So they just will know.
They just know that because I consistently have proven to them by my actions over time. You haven't had enough time to show them the kind of person. Everybody coming in knows, because there's years of proof of, I do what I say, I make this a better place for them. You just the way you're thinking is like, I never was thinking like this when I was a couple months in, like that was never the goal for me. It was just supposed to be like a little side hustle. So like, you already have this vision, which is amazing. You just need the time to have the proof. Like, I know what you're going to do, but you don't have the proof yet. So I
have to remind myself it's been 3 months or 4 months.
Yes, I know. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Patient with myself.
And really like letting that right there guide your actions of like, what will it take so that you don't have to say anything? It speaks for itself, so that nobody ever deigns to ask you that again. Nobody asks me that anymore, because it's all, the proof is there. They don't have to ask me that. So let that kind of be a goal for you. If that's important to you, like you want to be the type of person or the type of owner or the type of boss that it's so evident that what you put into this, that nobody even questions it. And if they do, they're not a good fit, because they would question anybody,
Right. No, that makes total sense. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. No, you're doing amazing. I can't believe, I'm so excited for you. Like you're going to do well for sure. And in 5 years, this will be your podcast. I don't know.
Well, I always said when I'm big, I want to be, it's you and it's this one other woman. Anyway, I want to be like an ambassador or something one day. So we will see. We will see. It's only been a couple months.
Exactly. You're killing it already. And I'll definitely share those other resources. And, thank you for being so open and willing to have this conversation publicly, because I just know, like, hey, listeners, add in comments, give Gentry some good vibes, because this was a really great conversation. And honestly, these are the types of nitty gritty, I'm so happy we had very specific questions, because then that's when we get into very specific advice and not these overarching, some of my conversations are more like motivational, I feel. And this is where I'm like, how do we do these things? I want to get into this and into these podcast episodes. So some people might find it not relevant or not, boring to them. I don't care. The people who this is going to help, it's going to help them greatly. So not every episode is for everybody. And hopefully the people that this is for will appreciate it. But anywho, well, I will let you go on to your Friday, Gentry. This has been amazing. I'm so happy to have met you.
Yes, I'm happy to have met you too. Can I tell people where to follow my business and my progress?
Of course. Let's take a look at your socials.
Okay, awesome. So on Instagram, follow us at 2.0 cleaning. So the number 2, spell out the word point, the number 0, and then cleaning. That's our Instagram. And then the same thing with Facebook, 2.0 residential and commercial cleaning enterprise. Okay. Perfect. So follow me. I'll try to be posting. I would love you to follow me as well, Steph.
I would love to. We'll link them in the show notes too, so that everybody can easily follow and just watch your journey, because this is just the beginning.
Yes, and if you're ever in Austin, Austin's a fun place. Let me know.
Okay, yeah, I hear the food scene is great. I'm a total foodie, so would love to. That's why Savannah keeps me chunky and happy. The food's so good.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. I really do. I was so excited when I saw you. I was watching your episode, it was 1 a.m. and you were like, Gentry Hunter, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, yes, you were like, maybe some people don't want to do this, but I understand. I was like, no, I'm going to be on here. I'm going to ask my questions. So I appreciate it a lot, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate the platform. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe again in a few months, or, as you run into new problems, we could talk again. Cause that's the cool thing is like seeing you at this level, like in 6 months, you're going to have different problems, and just like tackling would be really fun to watch you grow. But I will cut it off there. Otherwise I'll keep going for hours.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, it was good. This was awesome. And everybody, thank you for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Definitely leave comments down below. Give Gentry some love for being so open and honest and vulnerable to share her journey. And we will all be rooting for her, of course. But see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.